For the blind.
Today we'll be looking at verb patterns. We'll see what happens when two verbs together appear in the same sentence. Actually, we will be doing 5 verb patterns today. Alright, let's get started. And the first pattern is verb plus gerund. What is a gerund? A gerund is a verb in its base form plus ing, such as the verbs eating, standing, speaking. All these verbs are gerunds. They end in ing. All the verbs that end in the letters ing, we call them gerunds. So, if you want to get the gerund of any verb, you just take the base form of that verb, then add ing to it, and there you have it. So, how to make a gerund out of any verb? You take the base form of the verb, let's say speak. If you want to change it into a gerund, you just add ing, speaking. The same applies to every single verb. Take the verb, add ing to it, and there you have the gerund of that verb. Is it clear how to form a gerund?
Yes, clear.
Yeah,
Yes,
it's clear.
Okay. Right, let's take our first examples. Example number 1, she keeps complaining about her new boss. Example number 2, they enjoy staying here. Example number 3, would you mind giving me a hand to lift this box? Which verb pattern? These sentences use
Gerund.
a gerund. Perfect. All the verbs after the first verb, we have 2 verbs in each sentence, and the second verb in each sentence is a gerund. The verbs complaining, staying, and giving, these are the second verbs in each sentence, and they are all gerunds. They all end in ing. Okay, I give you some other verbs that take the gerund, okay? And these are the verbs suggest. Suggest must take a gerund. Suggest going, okay? I suggest going to the cinema. Recommend, finish, and practice, okay? So we have keep. She keeps complaining. So after keep, you have to get a gerund. Enjoy, mind, would you mind? And in addition to these verbs, we've got suggest, recommend, finish, and practice. Did you understand this first point, this first pattern? So when 2 verbs happen in the very same sentence, okay?
The second one will be gerund.
Aha, perfect.
And the first one is base.
Yeah.
It's easy.
Not only base, Abdulaziz, it can be conjugated.
Conjugated.
Okay? That's why I said base or conjugated.
Yeah, okay. For example, I loved drinking water or drinking juice.
In the past, yeah. Here, love is not the base form. It is conjugated. It shows the time, the tense. Perfect, Abdulaziz. Now, on to the second pattern. And this is verb plus infinitive. And here we can have 2 types of infinitive. One is the full or to infinitive, and a full or to infinitive is made up of the little word to plus the verb. such as the verbs to go, to get up, to see, etc. And the other is the bare infinitive. That is any verb in its base form and without the word to. We have two types of infinitive. We have a full infinitive with the word to. So if I say to go, to eat, to sleep, I feel like sleeping really right now.
That's why you mentioned.
Yeah. So to, when you have the word to, we call this in English followed by a verb, we call it a full infinitive. On the other hand, a bare infinitive is only the base form of the verb without the word to. So drink, come, go. I'm not saying here to go, to see, to sleep. No. If I use to, the word to, we call it a full infinitive or a to infinitive. If I take off the to, the little word to, and keep the verb sleep, go, come, drink, we call this form a bare infinitive, a verb without the word to. Okie dokie, time to look at some example sentences that use this verb pattern being explained. Okay, example number 1, he is hoping to pass his driving test. He is hoping to pass his driving test. Example number 2, I want to have a cat. And number 3, they are learning to cook Italian food. You notice these 3 sentences, they use the full infinitive. After the first verb, we get to, then the second verb. Let's examine the first example. He is hoping to pass his driving test. He is hoping, here the verb is hope conjugated in the present continuous. To pass, full infinitive. I want to have a cat, want, the first verb. To have, the second verb, is a full infinitive. And they are learning to cook Italian food. Learning again is the first verb and it is conjugated in the continuous form, the present continuous, and to learn, this is the second verb in the sentence, and it is a full infinitive. I'll give you some examples with that use, the bare infinitive. She can sing pretty well with modals. So you can notice here that with modals, we don't use a full infinitive. We have to drop the to, the word to. So she can sing pretty well. We must finish the report before Monday's meeting. You see? In the first sentence, we have the modal can. In the second, we have the modal must, and both verbs take a bare infinitive verb. Is it clear?
Yes, it's clear.
Yeah,
Rajan?
clear. Yes, miss, clear.
Okay. The third category of verb pattern includes all those verbs that could be followed by either a gerund or an infinitive without changing the meaning. Okay, now we've reached the third verb pattern, and this includes all the verbs that could be followed by or could take either a gerund or an infinitive, but there's kind of a condition here, without changing the meaning. These verbs, they can take either a gerund or an infinitive, but they keep the same meaning. The meaning isn't affected. Examples: I started learning Spanish and you started to learn English. I started learning Spanish and you started to learn English. The first sentence uses the verb start with a gerund. The second sentence uses the very same verb, I mean the verb start, but with a full infinitive, and the meaning is all the same. There's no difference in meaning at all. You can say either one, it's great. The meaning is not affected. Another example, we'll continue working and they'll continue to study. You see, we will continue working and they will continue to study. Continue, continue. In both sentences, in the two sentences. In the first sentence, continue takes a gerund, working. In the second, yeah, continue takes a full infinitive.
Infinitive.
Perfect, that's it. And both, I mean, we will continue working or continue to study, have more or less the same meaning. The meaning is the same, the similar meaning. There's no change in meaning. Is it okay?
Yes, it
Yeah.
is.
Any questions?
Well, I had a question, but you clarify my doubts.
Yeah?
You answered my question. I was
Really?
about to ask. She started crying and she started to cry. What are the differences? But it seems the same.
Yeah, the same.
Uh-huh.
These verbs, the verb start, continue, take both verb patterns. I mean, they can take a gerund or a full infinitive, but the meaning is not affected, stays the same.
Okay.
Yeah. Now for pattern number 4, and this one is the complete opposite of the previous one. Tricky, isn't it?
Yeah.
A little bit, yeah, it might be. It could be tricky a little bit. And this is because this verb pattern can take either an infinitive or a gerund. It's all the same as the previous one, the former one, but with
the meaning
a
changes.
difference in meaning. Perfect. There's a difference in meaning this time. The one we discussed before this one, I mean verb pattern number 3. We said, I mentioned that the verb can take either a gerund or a full infinitive, but the meaning remains the same. But pattern number 4, the verb can also take both a gerund or a full infinitive, but with a change in meaning. The meaning changes, doesn't stay the same. I give you examples to make things much clearer. Example number 1, I stopped drinking coffee last week. And I stopped to have a cup of coffee on my way back home. Can you try and tell me what's the difference in meaning between these two sentences?
Can
I'll
I
repeat
answer?
them.
Can I answer?
Give me a moment, Talar. I have to repeat the sentences to your friend. I stopped drinking coffee last week and I stopped to have a cup of coffee on my way back home. Yes, Talar.
Miss, different meanings.
Yeah, sure. This is what I
And
was.
time, Miss.
Time?
Miss, and different, yes.
No, I can say I stopped drinking coffee last week and I stopped to have a cup of coffee on my way back home last week. Last week, last week. This means the past. In
Oh,
the past.
okay, Miss.
Ha, Talar. That's it.
Miss, okay, yes.
Do you have anything else to add?
I want to say just different meanings.
Yeah, I said it. I said it already.
And different work.
Work?
Yes.
What do you mean work? Function? Explain
Yeah.
more. I can't get you.
Okay. First one, you, sorry, I've said again the sentences.
I stopped drinking coffee last week. I stopped to have a cup of coffee on my way back home.
Uh, a cup of tea and half cup of tea, of coffee, sorry.
Sentence number 1. I stopped drinking coffee last week. Sentence number 2. I stopped to have, which means to drink, have here has the meaning of drink, a cup of coffee on my way back home.
Miss, last week and on my back home, different.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Abdulaziz.
Miss, in the first sentence, it means that I stopped that habit drinking coffee. I am not drinking it anymore. And in this example, it means when I was in my way to home or work home,
On
I,
your way
I
home?
on my way home, I stopped at a spot to drink a coffee. Then I continued going home.
Well done, Abdulaziz. That's it. Exactly. That's it. The first sentence. I stopped drinking coffee last week. This means I drank coffee again and again and again in the past. You did it. You drank coffee in the past over and over. It was a habit. Okay, it was something that you did a couple of times repeatedly in the past, but last week you quit. You gave up drinking coffee. You never drink coffee anymore. The second sentence, I stopped to have a cup of coffee on my way back home. This means you were I don't know, walking home, driving home, then you interrupted your journey to drink some coffee before you get home. Is it clear?
Yes, now.
Sure? Are you
Yes.
sure? Jilan, Shirin, did you get it?
Yes.
I'll give you another example. I remember closing the window and please remember to close the window. And who can tell me the difference between these two sentences?
Miss,
Yeah?
can I answer?
Yeah, absolutely.
I
Go ahead.
remember closing the window. For example, when I say I sleep late, and when I sleep before I go to sleep, I close the window like every night, every time. But in the second example, it means like you should remember if you leave this room or you sleep, just close the window.
And the first one, can you repeat it again, please? The second, I got
The
it.
first one, it means I remember closing the window. Well, actually, I have two things to say. First, it basically maybe like I won't forget if I leave this place. I will close the window. You shouldn't remind me. It's like habitual.
Perfect. And I remember closing the window. It tells more about the action. I remember the action, okay? The action of doing that, of closing the window. But please remember to close the window or the windows. This means please don't forget.
Don't forget, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Is it clear for everyone?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, great. The last verb pattern in today's lesson is all about the verbs like, hate, love, and prefer. And the verbs like, hate, love, and prefer can be followed by both the gerund and the infinitive. Okay? The verbs like, hate, love, and prefer can be followed by both the gerund and the infinitive with a very small difference in meaning, and put a million lines after the word, the adjective small. Okay? The meaning is you can't notice it. It's not noticeable. Okay? Very small difference in meaning. The ing form, okay, of these verbs, the gerund, emphasizes the verb itself, and the full or to infinitive puts the emphasis on the preference for or the results of the action. Example: I hate listening to music. What verb pattern is this sentence using? I hate listening to music. Which verb pattern is used here?
Miss, can I?
Hello? Yeah?
Okay. Listening, general. Sorry, Miss. Can you?
A gerund, good. It's a gerund.
Gerald, sorry.
So, what I said about the verbs hate, love, prefer, they can be, or they can take both the gerund or the full infinitive. So, when the verbs like, love, hate, and prefer are followed by a gerund, this gerund emphasizes, stresses the verb itself. Like here in this example, I hate listening to music. Here, this gerund listening emphasizes the verb itself, which means I don't enjoy. Okay?
Can you repeat it, but in a quick way?
So, the verb pattern number 5 is to do with the verbs like, love, prefer, and hate. I said that these verbs can be followed by both the gerund and the infinitive with a very small difference in meaning. When one of these verbs, I mean like, love, hate, and prefer, takes the ing form, the gerund, this means that the gerund emphasizes the verb itself. Okay, I'll give you some examples to understand. But if like, love, hate or prefer and prefer are followed by a full infinitive, the emphasis, we shift the emphasis from the verb to the
Before.
preference for
Ah.
or the results of the action. The action. Example, I'm going to give you an example with a gerund, then with a full infinitive. The example is, I hate listening to music. I hate listening to music. So, in this sentence, the emphasis is on the process itself, okay? And the
Listening. Yeah.
enjoyment of it. Perfect.
Yeah.
On listening and the enjoyment of it. This means, so the emphasis in the sentence, I hate listening to music, and since this sentence is using the ing verb pattern, the gerund, so the emphasis is on the process of listening. And it gives kind of indication of whether or not I enjoy doing that.
Ah. Okay. Got
Yeah,
it.
when using, yeah. The others.
Yeah, Miss.
Okay.
It's
Gina
clear.
and Kevin. Okay.
Clear, Miss.
On the other hand, if you follow the verb with an infinitive, a full infinitive, then you emphasize the preference for or the results of the action. Example, I like to drink juice in the morning. I like to drink juice in the morning. I'm using a full infinitive, to plus verb drink. In this case, the emphasis is on the preference or the habit. Okay? It's not on the process, it's not on the verb. And the last thing about today's lesson is to do with verb patterns after adjectives. And usually, after many adjectives, what do we get?
In which pattern?
Which verb pattern do we get usually after most adjectives? The full infinitive.
Infinitive, yeah.
It's wonderful to see you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I said usually, not all the time. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah. And that's it about today's lesson. Any questions?
The last point, I don't understand. The last point.
Okay. After adjectives, do you know?
Yes.
Give me examples about adjectives.
Adjectives. I don't understand good this point.
I know.
You
I'm
see,
trying to help you.
Miss, I heard you say amazing and.
Do you know what do we mean by adjectives? What are adjectives? Give me examples of words that function as adjectives.
Adjective. Happy and sad, all of them.
Yeah,
Adjective.
that's it. You have to answer me when I ask you a question. So, I am happy to work here. You see, this is happy an adjective.
Yes.
So work is a full infinitive. So the rule says after most adjectives, we get a full infinitive. Nice to meet you. This is the most common expression ever.
Pleasure to meet you.
No, pleasure is a noun. Pleased.
Okay. Pleased.
To
Okay.
meet you. Okay? So after most adjectives, we get a full infinitive. And a full infinitive means the word to plus the verb. Clear?
Yes, very clear.
Any questions?
For me, I don't have any questions.
Yeah, time for exercise. Abdulaziz and Susie, tell me which verb pattern is correct. I'm gonna give you two sentences and tell me or give me the answer about which verb pattern is correct. Sentence
Oh, Ms.
number one.
Ruqayya,
Yeah,
can we work together? Like we're gonna discuss and give you the answer.
Abdulaziz, as you want, up to you. Okay, so discuss together. I'm gonna give you two example sentences and tell me which pattern is correct to use.
Okay.
It began raining.
Mhm.
It began to rain. It began raining. It began to rain. In English, discuss.
So which patterns? Suzy,
Yes.
you know what?
Began to. Yes.
Began, it's like begin. It's same as start.
In past.
Start raining, it start to rain. So we're gonna use, I think, first,
Began
second.
to rain, I think.
No, it says which pattern. It doesn't. She doesn't say which of them is right. Isn't it, Ms. Ruqayya?
I said which, but this might be a trick. Who knows?
Oh yeah. Mhm. So what? The first pattern was gerund. The second one was
began raining. It began raining, and it began to rain.
began raining. It began. So it was the
Susie.
fourth.
Can you please repeat?
Okay. It began raining, and it began to rain.
I'm just trying to remember the patterns. Which pattern was in the which rank? The third
Now
one
you said
was.
it. Begin
Yeah,
is the synonym for start.
Yeah, I know, but I'm not sure which pattern was like the fourth one, the third one. What I can tell you is that they don't have any. There is no difference of the meaning.
Yeah, discuss with Susie. Discuss you and
Susie.
Susie.
Okay, Susie.
Yes.
Begins means basically, so it doesn't like they don't have any difference between them.
The first.
What do you say? No, both of them. There is no difference between to rain or raining.
It began to rain.
You say that's right?
Yes, I
But
think.
she doesn't ask which of them is right. She asked which pattern is right for those situations.
Right.
The first one, second one.
She's saying which part is right.
No, which pattern? Mr. Ruqayya, can I say something in Kurdish? Please.
One phrase. Okay. One sentence.
Suzy.
Yes. Bala.
بينج بابتي أوي كرت شرحي كرت علي أمهر الرستانة كما ينبويا كما بادرن درستا بادرن نواتا شواس أو بين لو بين شوازانا يكي كان گنجاوة لقل أمهر درستانة جامن دلين أوي دلت جوازي لما نايان دانيا بلام شمارا كنا زمشو بلام أويا أجر هوراي لقل ما if you
هاورم لقلتا بلام جوبك أوي part يكم ودوام يكم it began to rain وانيا بس أوي دي it began raining.
نا وكو يكا the same began.
Okay, thank you, Abdulaziz. Susie, began, both in the past. Began, not begin. Began.
Okay, I understood it's number 2 was begin. Because of that,
It began raining. It began to rain.
It's the same. Okay.
Ms. Ruqayya, I don't know the corresponding number, but I don't know that the pattern which says both of them have same meaning. that pattern is correct, like suitable, correct.
The third one.
Yeah, the third one.
Yeah, the answer.
Yes.
Yeah,
Number 1 and
that's
2.
it.
What is it? Can you repeat it
The
again, please?
third pattern is suitable for those two sentences. It doesn't have any difference, but in terms of meaning.
You can use either pattern.
Yeah.
So a gerund or a full infinitive, it's all great. It's all fine. The meaning is not affected. Well done.
Yeah.
Thanks. Talal and Shajan.
I am alone, miss.
Shireen, can you work? No, she can't.
Yeah, I'll try. It's okay.
Tell me if the pattern that sentence uses, is it correct or not? He suggested to make a cake. Talar and Shireen.
Yeah. Tala.
It's Shirin
He
is
suggested to make
make a cake.
a cake. So is it correct in your opinion or not?
I have two opinions.
What are?
Okay, to make is to infinitive.
Yeah,
Just a full infinitive, yes. To infinitive and full infinitive. Just I suggest.
Use. I think you mean we use suggest, not suggested, not in the past. You mean that?
No.
What do
Not
you?
in the past or present. Just you suggested with to make is suitable.
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay, correct. My opinion, the sentence is correct.
That's correct, miss.
Yes.
This is your final answer?
Yes.
Shireen, do you agree with Talar?
Yeah, it's I think, you know what? I think we have to say he suggests to make a cake, not suggested.
No!
Sorry.
Suggest can be in the past, in the present.
Yes.
You can say he suggests now, or he suggested.
So tell her the answer.
Are you convinced? Okay, what is the answer, please?
Must I say?
Our answer is he suggested to make a cake.
Abdulaziz, you wanted to say something. Go ahead.
I wanted to answer if you allow me.
Yeah, you are allowed, but you have to pay some pounds.
Okay, by cash or Visa?
No, cash, no. Are you trying to make a fool out of me?
You know what, Mr. Qaya?
Yeah.
We don't say after suggest to make, we say he suggested making, or she suggested, or she suggests making. To make is not correct.
Tell them. Yeah. Well done, Abdulaziz. That's it. Do you get it? Shireen and Talar.
Yes.
Suggest, I gave you a few minutes ago. I told you some other verbs that can receive a gerund could be suggest, practice, finish. So he suggested making a cake. Yeah,
Shall I
Abdulaziz.
begin?
Abdulaziz.
Shall I begin?
Yeah.
Now I'm going to tell you a little bit about my friend's personality. and I will tell you a little bit about his family as well. The reason is that they really impressed me. My friend name is Jack. He's 22 years old, he's rather tall, and basically he's 180 centimeters. But he's very skinny. He's only 57 kilograms. He has a short blackish hair as well as brown eyes. He is an extroverted person and he's a taciturn body. And his confidence really impressed me. People feel warm, kind, and sweet with him. Thankfully, people see him as a confidant as well as loyal, reliable, and trustful. I'm
Trustworthy.
audible.
Mhm.
And that is why I chose him. He's sincere, honest, yet secretive. But he is not sneaky nor sly person. He is born optimist because he always thinks positively.
Oh.
He usually wakes up at 7 a.m. He's such an early bird. And my friend also devoted his life to his family. And his sister, such a gorgeous girl, smart and shy at the same time. His sister looks after her siblings. We can say that she's an earth mother. And his sister also a go-getter girl. I see him as a open-minded and tolerant person, my friend Jack. He's strong-willed and sort of determined. He usually does what he decides and he doesn't care what people say. That is a short description of my friend Jack.
Short and amazing.
Yeah, thank
You've
you.
blown my mind away. Really, Abdulaziz, and you deserve a star.
Thank you.
I could make it longer, but I thought about time consuming, so I said that's
That's
enough.
amazing. Believe me.
Thank you.
Fascinating. Atalar.
Okay. I want to describe my near and close friend. Her name is Mahabat, and she is 28 years old, and she is very thin, only 45 kilograms, and mhm. And she is average height, and she as well as she has short hair, and she has two girls, and she is I very trust to her. She is very, and I choose her because she is very secretive and confident, and very helped me for to my own works as private in college. And his husband is very bad with her. And,
No. We don't care about her husband.
Okay.
He is not treating her so good. It's not our business.
Okay, miss.
You want to describe her husband? Then okay.
Okay, her husband is tall, and he's plump, and he's angry, and she has two girls, and I want to describe two girls. They They are so beautiful, and they are young. One of them, they are childs. One of them 5 years.
Children.
One of them, yes, they are children.
They're still young, you mean?
They are what?
Still young.
Okay,
The opposite of old.
they are still young.
Mhm.
Opposite of what? Miss, I don't understand.
OLD. Old.
Old. Okay, okay. They are still young,
Hmm?
and
No,
a
you can
small.
describe her personality. Your friend's personality. You
My friend.
described her
Okay.
appearance.
Yes, secretive and sensitive and confident, and I trust him because she's secretive and very loyal. This is my short describe my friends.
Description. That's it?
Description. Yes.
You finished?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks for trying, Talar.
Okay, miss.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, miss. Thank you. You too. You hear me?
Don't mention it.
Yeah, it's my turn, doctor.
Yes, you.
What's your problem? What's wrong?
والله
I have problem with my imagination.
Yes, we were.
I'm feverish.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So I describe my cousin. Sarah is medium height and her weight is curvaceous. She has black hair goes down to her waist and very shiny. She's an extroverted.
Without an. A-N.
Yeah, without
The noun.
Ah, yeah. Oh.
Mm.
She's extroverted. A confident, sometimes shy person, and makes others feel warm, kind, and sweet. She treats other feelings.
Others' feelings.
شوفي
Means she
بالأول.
cares
Okay.
other people's feelings.
She treats others' feelings considerate and thoughtful.
You say
And
she is considerate, and this is what is the this is the meaning of considerate. This means she cares for others' feelings.
okay. Okay. And she is
cares for others and for their feelings. And
Yeah.
thoughtful, the same.
And she is trustworthy, reliable, and loyal. When she talks with people, she is sneaky and at the same time frank and honest. Sarah is tolerant, open-minded, and unbiased. And she is strong-willed, determined, and usually apathetic. Yeah, and the most important thing about her personality is her understanding is her understanding is bright and intelligent. And she's what?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, go on, go.
She is humble with attitude. She is humble with attitude with other people. I think it's correct.
Okay. Go on, I'll tell you. You and Tala, I'll make some remarks at the end.
Okay. Her relaxing depends on the situation. She is tense and some other time is laid back. And that's it.
You mean sometimes she is uptight?
Yeah.
Okay. She's kind of moody.
Yeah.
Okay. That's it?
Yeah, that's it. And I know it's very bad.
No, well done.
I didn't say bad. I didn't like the word bad to describe things. Thanks for trying. Okay? You can do better, you and Tala. I'm sure.
Okay, Miss.